Hey folks, Roby here with the Divi Engine team bringing you this part 2 in our Divi tutorial on how to put together an awesome hero section with this fancy full screen menu and hover effect. Today, we will focus on building out this global header in the Divi theme builder, then forcing it to show the mobile hamburger menu on desktop devices with a nice full screen layout when clicked. We'll be adding some CSS today, and all of that code will be linked in the description of this video. So if you're ready, let's go. Okay, so last week, what we did is we finished building out the basis of our hero section here. We've got our text, we've got our button here for the menu, we've got this hover effect that scales and rotates the burger image on hover, and we've got that ugly header still up here. So we're gonna start off by building the canvas that will make up our global header here. So to do that, I'm here on the back end of my freshly updated Divi install to WordPress 5.9. We're gonna go to Divi, Theme Builder, and then here, if you don't already have a global header, you're just gonna click Add Global Header here. We'll say Build Global Header, and it's gonna do its thinking, and bam, here is our global header with nothing in it. So first thing we got to do, we're going to add a row, and we're going to do the 50-50 row here. We'll click that in there. And then in the first column, we're going to add an image module, because if we look at our original site, it had that hamburger in the top left corner. I can delete this placeholder image. And I already uploaded this little image here. It is just a simple PNG file that's called icon.png that's linked in the text tutorial in the description of this video. So I'll just select that. I'll upload the image. It's not going to look fantastic, but we're just getting all the elements on the page really quick. Next up, we're going to go to the right column. We're going to click Add. I'll type in Menu, and we'll add a menu module. Super easy, right? Now, I don't have a menu created yet. You might not have one either. So let's take a look at how we go about creating the menu that we'll select to add in here. Okay, so to do that, we're going to start off on our desktop again. We're going to go to Appearance. We're going to go to Menus. And then we'll just create our first menu. And I'll just say Main. And we don't need to assign it as primary, but I'll just do that for now. I'll say Create. And now you'll see here that you've got options to add existing pages. If you click View All, it'll show absolutely everything. We're just going to add some placeholders for now, but realistically, you want this to go to pages so that when you change your permalinks, you move stuff around, you rename things, that your menu links do not break. So for now, I'm going to go for custom links. I'm going to put a placeholder of pound. And then I'm just going to say, first one is going to be home. Well, let's make it lowercase to make it interesting. We'll add that one. You'll see home goes in. Just another hash for, or a pound for placeholder, and then we'll type our menu. Oh, let me just keep it nice and consistent. Not that we can't change that later, but for right now we'll do that. And one more time, we'll say about us, add, and this can be any amount of pages or whatever you want on your site. It doesn't need to be for a restaurant or hamburger site. You can use this with anything. But this gives us the skinny. Actually, for home, we can just go ahead and expand this, and I'll kind of show you how you can change things in here. For the URL, I'll just put a /, and what that's going to do, it's going to take us to the root of our domain where this Divi install is installed, and you can change the name alternatively if you want to. You can add the classes by checking this box up here. A lot of different stuff you can do, but we'll keep it at this. We'll just save our menu, and then you can see it's been updated. Now we're just going to go back to our theme builder and pick up where we left off. Okay, so you're in the theme builder. If you've already saved or refreshed the page, we're just going to go ahead and click that menu module. It by default will select that main menu. It just goes for that basically if nothing's been selected, just so that it displays something. If you have more than one menu, of course, you'll have to go select that specific menu. So there we have it. This is, to start out with, all the modules we're going to use on this page, with the exception of the code module, which we're going to be adding in the last step here. So we're going to need to get to styling right now in the next step. So first things first, let's fix this little hamburger icon here because it's a little bit too large for what we want to be on the front end of the site. So all we got to do is open up the settings. We go to design. We're going to make sure that its alignment is left. Sometimes it pops out in the middle of the column. We want it to be at the very left of the page. And then all we need to do is go to sizing, and we're going to say the max width for this to be 50 pixels. Well, that defaults to 50%. We'll just make that pixels, and bam. Now we've got a much more attractive little icon over on that side. Next up, we need to take a look at the mobile menu, or the actual menu, not mobile menu yet. That's what we're going to be doing in this step of our tutorial here. So what we want to do is that we want to make sure, of course, that main menu is selected. We're going to go ahead and then just go to the Elements tab here. We want to make sure that we don't have WooCommerce installed, so we're going to make sure that the shopping cart icon is off and that the search icon is off. We don't want that to show up. We just want that hamburger to show up. Heading over to the Design tab, we're going to start editing the style of the text here. Okay, so we're going to expand menu text. Now, here for the active link color, we're just going to tell it to be a yellow color, so it's distinguished from the other ones. And that's going to be the one that we've used already in this, and it's F1C40F. Oh, every time that happens, F1C40F. There you go. Got to type it quickly, otherwise Divi takes over. So there we go. So now the active link will be that color. So just click that. We're going to go down and we're going to modify the font weight to be ultra bold. That makes it nice and fat. And then we're going to make the stock text color white. Now it's going to disappear on the page. So I'm going to come back and do that. For now, we'll just keep it black so we can see the text as we're working with it. We're going to tell it to go to uppercase, or do we want it lowercase? That's going to be up to you. I'm going to keep mine lowercase for right now. Okay, we're going to change the menu text size to be 34 pixels, so it's nice and big. Don't worry that it wraps here. This text is not going to be visible on the desktop by the end of this tutorial, so don't worry about that. It will only be visible once the page has been expanded. Now, we're going to also add just some text shadow here. I'm going to go with option 4. So 1, 2, well, it's 3, but technically 4, right? First one's not having one at all. So now we can come back up here. We'll make that text white. And now you can see it pop out like that. And we want to scroll down a bit more. There's a couple more settings we want to change here, like the icons. We've got a hamburger icon here. And we're going to make it that gray color. So we're going to go with 171717. And then we're going to make the size of the hamburger icon. So right down here, 38 pixels. Now we can't see it now, but guess what? Divi is so smart. We can go ahead and do a mobile preview. And there you see your hamburger icon. Now don't worry that it's on different lines right now. We're going to fix that with some code once we start modifying the different section and row for the header. So just bear with me. We're going to get to that in 1 second. So let's just go back to the desktop view here. And we're going to start styling the actual section that we have up here. So we're going to open up the section settings. We want to make sure that the background is set to be transparent. We're going to head to the Design tab to modify some of the spacing. And what we want to do is eliminate some of this top and bottom padding. So spacing. Padding for the top, we're going to set 0. We're going to link them up, and there it scooches up right to the top up there. And now we're going to need to tell the browser so that the CSS knows to modify this to be the hamburger menu. So we're going to add the class de-burger-menu. And then last thing we want to do is scroll down a bit. We're going to go to position. We're going to say absolute, and we're going to put it right in the top center. We're going to save that, and we're done with the section settings, and now it's up to the row. So with the row, we're going to do a couple of things here. First thing, we're going to go and make sure again that that background is set to transparent. And then we're going to hit up the Design tab. We're going to go to sizing, and now we want to change a couple things just to make the width a little bit wider. So we're going to set the width to be 100%. And then also we're going to change this max width to be 2560. Now down to spacing. See how it's scooched up to the side there? We don't want that. We're just going to make sure that we put a little bit of padding for everywhere at 15 pixels so that there's a little bit breathing room in there for all the different elements. Now, to make sure that on mobile, our two columns don't wrap like that, I'm just going to go again to desktop view really quick. We're going to go ahead and in the advanced tab of the row, we're going to go to custom CSS, and we're just going to add a line of CSS that says display colon flex. And now when we go to mobile, bam, your icons are right next to each other and it looks fantastic. So now we're done with setting the stage to get this all done. So, okay, now we can see that it's working, and we're going to go to the next step where we're going to be adding the CSS just to make sure that everything is fine. Let's save this right here. So it's saving that header. You want to make sure that you save here, because otherwise your header will not be saved and all your work will be lost. It's a little funky thing. I wish Divi would just save it automatically, but I'm sure those geniuses have a reason for it. So let's go to the front end. By clicking over to where we worked on the menus, I'll just say Divi Engine, visit site. And now we're on the front end, and here we can see our new header up here. It doesn't have that ugly stock header any longer. I see that I made a little bit of a goof here. I forgot one important setting to set up here, and this is the menu background. So let's just go back to the theme builder. Let's edit the global header. And then go on my menu module. I'm just going to scroll down to background and just put that as transparent. Let's save this up. And now we don't need to go to the other step where we went here and saved this again. Your global header is saved in there. So on the front end, let me refresh. And okay, that background's gone. Thank goodness. Now for real, we can move on to go and add the CSS to pull it all together. Okay, to add the code, we jump back into the back end of our Divi site. We're already in the theme builder where we left off in the previous step. Now, we're just going to edit our header, and we're going to have this load up. I'm going to hit the plus sign to add a code module. And this is important. You'll find the code linked in the description of this video, and we're going to walk through it in a moment. But what we're going to do, we need to add a style tag. And we need to go ahead and copy the code that's linked and paste it right in there. And you can see immediately when that happened, my hamburger icon popped up. Super quick. And you can see all this CSS that's making that magic happen. I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to save the header. And now when I come to the front end and I reload, bam, we have our header menu. When I click it, there we go. We've got all this good stuff coming in. We've got the full screen menu. We've got the menu hover icons here that will kind of like expand when you hover over it, and that's all done within the CSS. So let me take you through the code. Alrighty, so here you see me in the blog post that will be live, linked within the description of the video. You can see the before and after, but let's get to the meat and potatoes down here. Here we've got all the code. It's heavily commented, so it'll allow you to change colors to match your style, whatever you need done. The first part of the code here just tells it to go ahead and move the hamburger to the right of the header. Next up, we want to hide the regular desktop header that shows up, the text that we saw before. Now we're forcing the mobile version by letting it think that it's in mobile view. And now we've got the style for the full screen menu when it's opened. So what we're talking about is this screen right here. What we want to do is make sure that the viewport's full width, that the position is fixed so you can't scroll around. Height is also 100 of the vertical height of the browser window. Now the rest of the code's not really that important. Here you can change the type of animation as that menu moves in. This just makes it fade in and out. And then here's what's important to you, where you can set the full screen menu background color. So this color right here, right now I've got it set to that gray color 17, 17, 17. Next up, we've got the part that actually shows the full screen menu, because initially it's hidden. And we basically just tell it to have an opacity of 1, because initially it will be set to 0. And then we just tell it for visibility, hey, make me visible. So there's that. Now we want to make sure that we fade it out when we open and close it. So when we're closing it, we're putting the opacity to 0, we're hiding it. We make sure that it's animated, again, with that transition to fade it out into the sunset, if you will. So next up, we want to remove the bullets that would normally be next to the individual menu items when it's listed like that, because they're actually line item elements in HTML. And then we just want to make sure that this menu shows up above everything else. So we set the Z index to be a lot of 9s. And then we want to set up the close icon. So when we've got our menu open here, we're talking about this icon. And there's an article in Elegant Themes on the different codes. You see this content code here of the different icons. So you can just copy and paste that and put that in there. We'll link that article in the description of this video in case the X doesn't do it for you, or maybe you want one of the other styles. We'll just put a little bit to the left of the screen. You might have to adjust and play with this a little bit on yours. And we set the color to white, and I kind of did that backwards. I realized that, but if you want it to be white, red, pink, purple, that's up to you. You just put either the color name or the code in there. That'll make sure that that happens. Now, just making sure that the hamburger icon is in a fixed position on mobile. We've got that set right there. We want to remove any borders that are on the menu. We want to, again, emphasize that all the backgrounds are transparent, so we see the background color that we set for that full screen menu. And then we just want to remove the kind of the hover animation that happens when you're hovering over the standard menu. So again, and then also what this does, it swaps it out for that transformation here, that when we hover, it kind of makes it a little bit larger, and it just has a nice little feel to it, and it animates that in and out for us, so it looks much better. And then lastly, removing any mobile lines that might be showing up on the mobile menu. And that is the code, folks. So here you have it. With 20 minutes, I think this was, we finished building out the header using the theme builder, a skill you might not yet have had. We've showed you how to force the hamburger mobile menu on desktop, and we added a full screen menu with some cool hover effects when you go over the text. So that's it for this tutorial, but check in on the next installment where we're going to be adding some jQuery to go and take this even further and add that big animated background, or not animated background, but that big text of the menu items that are hovered at that specific moment. So definitely stick with us. So guys, this was Roby from the Divi Engine team coming at you with great Divi tutorial content. Like and subscribe if you like this type of stuff, and definitely let us know in the comments. So with that, that's it from me. I'm going to catch you guys in the next video.